morning. It's live now. Yay! Good morning. I was waiting. I was like, oh, I don't know. How's it going out there, Facebook people? How's it going? Happy Hump Day. I'm Dr. Valerie Renee Shepard, coming to you live from a very different looking Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery. We're in a major transition. Things are not as they appear, and they're not as they used to appear either. And that's a really good thing that we are very, very excited about. Ha ha ha. It's a secret, sorta, not really. Good morning. How are you doing? We are now in maybe, what is this, the fourth week of the new year. We've come through some very interesting times. The Lunar New Year has happened, a full moon, new moon is happening. There are some devastating things happening in the real world. And since that's where we all live, it's a time to kind of contemplate how it is we relate to those things, the difficulties and what can appear to be quagmire, as I call it, quagmire. What's your relationship with quagmire? That like quicksand that we can get stuck in that seems to want to swallow us up. And I certainly have been in that situation more than one time. In a couple times I just surrendered to the quag and fell into the mire, and there are other times when I was like kicking and screaming, no, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. So grateful for you being here. And just so you know, the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery is about teaching you how to master yourself, your magnificent instrument, your magnificent essence, to master yourself in your life so that you can exquisitely manage whatever your life sends your way. And let's be clear, our lives send all kinds of things our way. And that's what we're watching. We're watching it in the micro level. Maybe you have an illness. Maybe you are dealing with financial trouble. Maybe you have relationship trouble. Maybe your career seems out of whack and you're weary of that. Maybe you're feeling stress, anxiety, and overwhelm, and you're like, I don't know what to do about that. Our lives bring us all kinds of things to manage. Maybe you're exquisitely happy because you have a new baby. Maybe you're exquisitely happy because things are finally, quote unquote, finally lining up to give you something to really, really be juicy and deliciously happy about. In my life, I call that more surprise and delight, please. And it's been coming in, and I love it. So our lives give us all of these things, all of these experiences, all of these situational dynamics, all of these people, so that we can actually see ourselves. Isn't that an interesting paradox? Everything out there is actually giving me the opportunity to see myself better. And I didn't always know that. And not knowing it made experiencing it a lot harder. It wasn't horrible. I lived a really good life. I say it like I'm not here anymore. That version of me is not here anymore. Thanks to me. Grâce à mi, grâce à moi. Je parle un petit peu français de temps en temps, et maintenant je veux dire grâce à moi. Thanks to me. And it can be thanks to you too. Like you can be the one to whom you give thanks to for the dynamic shifts that you make in terms of the idea of transformation. Transformation. Greetings out there. I see you. I honor you. I thank you for being here. Much love and light, my lovely. So what I'd love for you to do is to type into the chat, like when you think of what you would like to transform, when you think of, okay, transformation, I'll buy in. Okay, transformation. I'll sign up for a minute or two. What is it that you might transform in yourself? What is it that you might transform? So my biggest thirst for the last 2 decades has been to transform my ideas of who I think I am. Like the ideas that are embedded in me from the twists and turns of my life. Now, this is interesting how this just kind of feeds on itself. And that's the topic of today's Hump Day Happy Chat. Be a fabulous storyteller. Be a fabulous storyteller. Now, there's some storytelling that's going on in the world right now. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? Just so you know, it has nothing to do with lies and fabrications and twists and turns like that that are not based in reality. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the stories you tell about yourself to yourself. And the way those show up are in the ways you treat yourself, the way you talk about yourself when you're talking to others, the way you stand in yourself when you're with others, how you put yourself out there as a part of saying, as Horton would say, I am here, I am here, I am here. How you put yourself out there. I'm talking about the ways that we support, love, and be ourselves. Be the me that I am. Be the you that you are. What is the you-ness of you? And I talked about this in the last Hump Day Happy Chat, number 199. I talked about, are you being the real you, or are you being an illusion of you? And this is a corollary to that, which asks the question, or gives the invitation to be a fabulous storyteller. Be a fabulous storyteller. So I used to love storytellers. I don't know about you, but the public libraries where I lived had storytelling times. And it was pretty cool because as a little tyke, I could go sit there and like look up at the person reading. And sometimes my classrooms had this. My second grade and third grade classes had this. And I could look up and I just loved story time. I love story time. If you liked story time, put a thumbs up in the comments. And if you're watching on the replay, hashtag replay, give me your insights as well. I love getting feedback. It tells me, gives me some invitations from you to me about what you'd like help with, what you'd like to hear about. So I've loved storytellers. Storytellers are a creative force. I mean, and man, when you get into that form of storytelling or poetry reading called spoken word, oh my gosh, I honor the people who do that with such a force of beauty and grace and elegance. It's amazing to me. And this creative force that can bring the most mundane things to life, that actually make them something that I want to lean into, something that can really get me going. Storytellers, they create dramatic twists and comedic crescendos and nail-biting continuations where you're like hanging on every word. Storytelling in the form of film, in the form of spoken word, in the form of novels, in the form of even, I love storytelling when I hear like leadership experts, marketing experts, technology experts talk to me in the form of a story to help me get into what can seem like, I don't want to listen to that. It's quite a skill, and I really love it. And I love it so much that I became one as an adult. I became a storyteller. Yes, y'all. I was a member for, 7 years. I forget now, but it was pre-brain hemorrhage. And I was a member of Book Pals, which is a literacy project of the Screen Actors Guild. And there's data that associates reading out loud with higher literacy rates. So who better to read out loud to bring a story to life than actors? And so as a member of the Screen Actors Guild, one of the ways that I was giving back was through Book Pals, this literacy program. And here in Orange County, I would go to an elementary school called Deerfield Elementary, and I would read aloud. I had a second grade class, a fourth grade class, and a fifth grade class. And yes, fifth graders actually did like being read aloud to. There's a point where we start to treat young people like they're old, and I know they want us to, but there's a way that we treat them like they're sort of older than they are. And I think they grow up way too quickly as far as I'm concerned. And the play gets kind of beaten out of us at a very young age. And that doesn't serve us. I'm just going to emphatically state being disconnected from your inner child, especially the healthy, vibrant, magnificent essence of your inner child at a young age doesn't serve you. That energy needs to be with you for your entire life. And rather than try and rebuild it, reconnect at midlife, just keep it alive all the way through. All the way through. But so in Book Pals, I used to go and read stuff sometimes, and I would pick the book with the instructor, and I like to pick books that challenged children to expand their ideas of who they are, expand their ideas of the world, expand their ideas of each other, see how the world works that isn't taught in school. And so I would read, and then we'd have a discussion session. Okay, I am Dr. Valerie Renee Shepherd, so we would do that with me. We did have the fun and play, and we talked about what the characters were going through, and it was awesome. And there was the annual Read Across America Day when schools all across the country were doing literacy programs. It was in honor of Dr. Seuss. I know he's controversial in today's social climate, and I'm not about to talk about that. I'm just saying the beauty of some of Dr. Seuss's work really lend themselves to creativity and imagination, and young people opening their hearts and minds to what more is possible. What more is possible. And it was great. And I loved it. And according to them, my children in my classes, I was pretty doggone fabulous. I liked it. I was pretty fabulous is what they would say to me, and my heart would expand. It was a precious, special time. I even had a cat in the hat, red and white striped 10-gallon hat, bow tie, and I wore them. I love seeing the children light up on every word and facial expression and every kind of move I got into. And it was fun, and it was good, and it served them, and it served me. And so today, why am I bringing this up? Especially with fantastical storytelling that's going on by some adults that is somewhat deplorable in today's climate. Why am I bringing this up? I'm inviting you to explore your own capacity for storytelling and to get into the spiritual nature of it, the high vibration nature of it, because you're doing it anyway, whether you know it or not, whether you've noticed or not, whether you realize it or not, whether you're connected to it or not. You're telling stories every minute. Every minute of every day, you're creating stories in your head. And what I'm inviting you to do is to investigate. Because what you're creating, whether it's inside or outside, is what you're going to be living. I love this quote from Jaya John. Take closer care of your inner stories. They create your outer life. That's law of reflection in a nutshell. That's Hermetic principle in a nutshell. As within, so without. As above, so below. The way you're creating yourself in this realm is the way you're going to experience this realm. The stories you tell about your experiences in this realm is how you're going to experience this realm. Take closer care of your inner stories, because those inner stories create your outer life. When the stories we're telling about ourselves to ourselves are negative, when I say to my body, not really to my body, about my body to someone else, I have bad knees. That's quite a story. And my body hears it. And my body has to conform, because the universe says yes to every prayer I utter. The universe says yes to every prayer you utter. Yes. Maybe not right now, and maybe not exactly the way I envision it, but it's coming. And I have 1,000 ways in my life that I know that is truth. And so that's what my couple decades long personal transformation journey is about. And it will continue until the day I transition off the planet. It is not something that you're ever done with. And that's something to embrace, because the question is, what more is possible? As I release the things that have been holding me down, as Toni Morrison say, you want to fly, you got to release the ish that holds you down. Yes, the weights, the yucky stuff that you're hanging on to because it's a part of your story. I grew up a certain way and I've been struggling against it ever since. My mother this, my father that, my sibling this, my boyfriend that, my girlfriend this, my partner that. The stories that we're telling are creating the prison bars. Do you understand me? If you feel like you're in a prison, if you feel like your life has gotten really small, coming out of a pandemic, there are some people who feel like, oh my gosh, I never realized how small my apartment is until the last 3 years. And even beyond the pandemic, I think the pandemic exacerbated things that we were already doing that weren't serving us. And so here's an opportunity in this whole space of, what kind of story do I tell about myself? What am I, like, when's the last time I looked at myself in the mirror and said, hello, gorgeous, and meant it? When's the last time I looked at my little puffy little body and I hate this I tell myself about this little space on my back with my bathing suit's on. Like, what is that? When did that get there? Little puffiness, poop, coming out from under my bathing suit. I don't like it. And yet I love it. So how do I extend love and gratitude and a joy to what's not working in my life, gratitude and joy to what's not what I want, gratitude and joy in the space of, how do I make transformation come into my life at this point and serve me at the highest levels? When the stories we are telling about yourself, to yourself and to others, take on negativity, are filled with judgment, are filled with distortions from misinterpretations from experiences in the past, are regurgitations of old stuck resentment, guilt, shame, blame, anger, hate. Whether it's yours or whether you inherited from your lineage, the stories you're telling can be the death of you, quite literally. They can run you ragged, quite literally. They can create a life that you want to be free from. And here's the most important piece. The only person who can free you from the stories that you are creating is you. You are the master and commander, mistress and commandress. Whatever title flows for you can be completely gender agnostic. You just create it for yourself. The whole point is you hold the wand. You hold the key. Regardless of how you think of yourself, you're creating your experiences, and it starts with thoughts and the stories that habitual patterns of thinking create. Habitual patterns of thinking. That means you're conditioned into a groove in your life, and you're recreating it. Oh, here it is again, and here it is again, and there it is over there, and here it is over here, and oh my gosh. And you're guaranteeing before you even get over there to your future that it's going to meet you there. Because it's the story you're telling. It's the story you're telling. So I implore you to notice, wake up to who you're being. Wake up to the line. What's the through line? Oh, in my through line, the story's always had me somehow being victimized. In actuality, I was victimized. Many, many times. Those are true. That is life experience, lived experience. And this is part of the issue. Our lived experience gets entangled with our stories because of law of reflection, law of attraction, law of reciprocity, law of karma, all these universal laws, law of resonance, all these universal laws are pinging off of our vibration. So we have these thoughts, the thoughts show up in real time. Then we look at the real time situation and go, see, I told you. Not realizing which came first. I believed it and so it had to show up, or did it show up? And now I believe it. I'm going to tell you it's belief is seeing. It's not seeing as believing. This world that we live in that is a spiritual, energetic, metaphysical, quantum-run field. Believing creates the seeing. Look it up. Believing creates the seeing. And what I know now, because my outer world is a beautiful reflection of what I'm believing in my inner world, is it works to shift to a new vibration. And I'm right now vibrating at the level of surprise and delight, and the universe keeps landing surprise and delight in my lap every single day. Every single day. And it's been going on for months. And I'm getting the reflection of the cleanup that I've been doing on my ideas of myself, on my ideas of my relationships, on my ideas of the universe and how the world works. I'm telling you, I'm treating you, please, please, please be a fabulous storyteller in your life. So, because when you tell a story long enough, what happens is when you get into that habitual pattern of saying the blah, 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 you are lessening your ability to separate yourself from the blah, blah, blah. And at some point, a groove gets built so tightly within your heart and mind that you think that's who you are. You think that's what happens. You think that's how it's always going to be. And that's not good or bad or right or wrong. It just is. It just is. Fighting what is a waste of energy. If you're doing that, that may be why you feel stress, why you feel anxiety, why you feel overwhelmed in your life, by your life. So greeting what is and creating a high vibration story of what is, what I am, where I'm working in harmony with universal law of attraction, law of reflection, law of reciprocity, law of resonance, law of karma, all those things, I'm working in harmony with them because I unequivocally know that they work. So just like gravity, I don't know how it works, it is working. I just go, okay, I'm going to work in harmony. I'm going to leverage these laws by being what I want to see on the outside. Being on the inside, what I want to see on the outside. Being on the inside, what I want to experience on the outside. Calling forth from my inside what I want to have around me in my outside world. It can't necessarily, your own vision can't necessarily transform the entire world. It needs collective consciousness to do that. And so when all of us are shifting, remember the meta prayer that I say at the end of every Hump Day Happy Chat. When all of us get into the vibration of shifting to a higher vibration, get into the energy of transforming into a higher vibration, consciousness rising, when we are all doing it, look out. Surprise and delight is going to be everywhere. And for right now, the best thing you can do for yourself and the planet is be a one. Be a one. The power of one to transform the entire world. You have power because one more light means a little less darkness. One more joyful voice, make a joyful noise. One more joyful voice means a little less judgment and consternation. Just one more. And so you do have power in the bigger scheme of things. And it starts with you using your power in a micro level to clean up your own act. Sweep first in front of your own door, and then go over and sweep in front of someone else's. That's not my quote. I can't remember, Robert Frost, or I don't know. So here's the deal. How do you weave a story that is woven through your life that doesn't condemn yourself to living what you don't want? How do you weave a story that creates the platform, the foundation, and the juicy, delicious, ooey gooey center that allows you to live the life of your dreams, to have your version of my surprise and delight happening every day? It doesn't mean there's no sort of what is this? Doesn't mean that. I've had some tears flowing in the last 2 weeks, and several people know where they came from and what was going on. And thank you to those people for being support and service to me. I've felt weary, which to me is a deeper form of tired. I've felt weary about some of the things I feel like I've been carrying, some of the weight, some of the backpacks that I've been carrying for a long time. And then I'm like, well, why am I still carrying that? What new experience can I create for myself by putting the backpack down? Put the weight down, Valerie. You can do it. It's in you to put it down. You don't need to carry it anymore. And so I'm coming to you today saying the same thing. Be a fabulous storyteller. How do you do that? Here's what it means. That you only weave stories that serve you. That your inside story is the creative force for the outside experience that you are dying to have, in quotes. That you are committed to having. I like that word better. So first, what do you think my first step is when you're getting ready to create a story? I tell you this every Hump Day Happy Chat, every one. Look back, there's 200 of them. Today is number 200. Breathe. Breathe. and then look for truth. Within yourself, look for truth. So with me, we'll go back to my knee story. We'll stay on something very concrete and tangible. I told myself I had bad knees. When I went to the gym, my knees hurt, so I would say, oh, I have bad knees. People would see me wince, what's going on? Oh, I have bad knees. And it felt like truth to me because my knees made me wince, so quote unquote made me wince. I had a wince reaction to my knee in pain. And so the story I told was my knees are bad. So when I started getting clear on how powerful are the stories I tell, I apologized to my body for wrapping it in this cloak of pain and suffering, which ain't what I want. So I apologized to my body and I asked for forgiveness from myself, to myself, for myself, about myself. Who are you being when you think you're being you? Well, I wasn't being very kind. You don't have to beat yourself up to be unkind to yourself. Just look at your stories. Do you make yourself the butt of your own jokes? Not serving you. So I told stories about my knees. So tell the truth means tell the truth. The truth in those moments was, I'm feeling some knee pain. That's the truth. The story came from the interpretation of the knee pain. I have bad knees. Very different. Can you hear the difference? Most importantly, can you feel it? The resonance is very different. So I started learning how to tell the truth, how to state what is without the interpretation of why it's that way, what it means going forward that it's that way. Just the truth, what is. I cannot fight what is. My knees hurt. I'm feeling pain right now. That is the true statement of what is. So you start with a truth-telling experience. In the truth-telling experience, you may notice, I could say that more emphatically, I guarantee you'll probably, isn't that funny? I'll guarantee you'll notice there's something in there that's not about what is so. There's something in there that's about interpretation, prediction, and story. And when you can get so refined that you know the difference between what you're doing, and you can go even the next step, which is where did that version of my interpretation come from? Like that's a whole nother piece to resolve. Why did this story get started? How was it serving me in the past? I know that some of my stories about my issues with my body got love. I got attention. I got nurturing. I got caring. And I wanted all of those things. Doesn't mean I didn't have them. I wanted more. And that's okay. And so I know some of the interpretations and habitual patterns of storytelling that I've told to myself were about longing to be loved and to feel lovable as Valerie Renee Shepherd. So tell the truth. Notice where the interpretation starts. Go play with that. If you need a coach or a counselor, get one to help you decipher these things. Then in the story, if you're going to create a story anew, go positive. So my story might be, my new story, my transformed story, my story in the light might be, oh, what's going on with you, Valerie? Well, my knees, I'm feeling a lot of pain in my knees right now. And, so notice I said and leaves what's so to be so without touching it, but tries to eradicate it. And I don't want to eradicate it. It's true. I'm living it. I'm feeling a lot of pain in my knees right now, and I'm committed to loving on them and having this pain go away. In fact, I am declaring and proclaiming right now that I am walking in ease and peace and grace, completely pain-free, with my knees being completely restored to their most healthy, vibrant, operational state. I'm trusting that in whatever way this can be made possible, the divine is showing me how to get on the train of healing my knees. And I'm sending love and light to my knees right now. I'm grateful for the surgeons and the therapists and the medications and the nutritional supplements that are helping me get beyond the experience of my knees that I'm having right now. Can you hear the difference in that storytelling? You go positive. You can go even fantastical. Like I've seen places where in psychometrics, where you go into a space of an angel is coming down with a wand and touching both of my knees, and I see beautiful green healing energy spreading out through them. And oh my gosh, I see the cartilage being renewed and refreshed and reborn and rebuilt. And I see all the places where I've got bolts in one of my knees, where all the places where the bolts are connecting, everything is healthy and healed. And you can go into that space as you choose. You just have to choose, be committed, and continually practice. Perfect your ability to be a fabulous storyteller. That's all. You don't even need a book. You don't even need to write it down. Like, this is easy practice. But you got to do it. Nobody's going to do it for you. So you create the big, maybe even fantastical story for yourself. You keep on telling the stories like that, knowing that what I'm talking about is not talking about lying. We're not lying about what is. There's a big difference between creating, like faking it till you make it, creating the space for magnificence to replace that which you don't want. Creating a replacement is very different than lying about what is. My story started with the truth about what is. My knees hurt. My knees are giving me pain right now. Oh, and by the way, that's true for this moment that I'm with you. So make no mistake, faking it till you make it is nothing like the lies that are being told. So keep that clear inside you. So you go fantastical, you rinse and repeat until the outer reflects the anchor of the inner. And when a voice of reason, left brain, logic, boy was I love my left brain, and that's all I was for a long part of my life. When my left brain comes in with a logic, reason, to tell me, that's not really what's happening. You're talking about feeling better and you have bolts in your knees. It's not going to get better. Like, that's just not going to happen. Like when that voice of reason tries to connect the dots with logic, you can just allow it to quiet. You can ask it, that voice, that aspect of you, you can just say, hey, you know what? We're going to try something new. I've done it your way. So I'm asking you, and you might, there have been points in my life where I had to go, I'm telling you to sit down and zip it. I don't want to hear that story anymore. Sit your butt down and zip it. And that really worked. I did the loving, and that was loving, and I did the loving really, please sit down for a while. And when there was a part of me that wasn't buying into what I was transforming into, I called it a stronger, more committed voice, more committed vibration, more committed energy to say emphatically, you shall not pass. Gandalf, I call those my Gandalf moments. Are you getting it? And inside, like that voice of reason, when that comes up, you might use Eckhart Tolle's guidance where he says, you stay a little bit loose with these things that sound like truth, but maybe aren't, by saying, is that so? Is it so that my knees are never going to heal? Is that so? I don't know. I believe in miracles. I'll take one right now. So the is that so from Tolle's teachings is beautiful, layered in here. And the other thing is to investigate the old wedding triad. Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. So you can investigate the oldness of the story. Where did that come from? You can investigate the borrowed nature of the story. Am I actually living an ancestral story that really isn't touching me in the here and now, but the energy of it has come through my lineage? All oppressed people are doing that, and all lineages of oppressors are doing that. That is a deep subject for another time. But know that regardless of whether you are oppressed, whether your lineage was oppressed or your lineage was the oppressors, you're receiving energy through that hereditary line. And so you can investigate that. How is your belief system about yourself showing up that way? And then something blue. Where is your sadness, your sorrow, your regret, your debilitation? You can go into those things. And if you need the help of a counselor, get that. A book, get that. A retreat, do it, to help you understand better, deeper, how to unravel the connection to that, not to tell it to go away. It is. What is. But how do you get it out of your vibrational field so it's not recreating itself in your life? So be a fabulous storyteller, y'all. Tell the truth. Create the version of your life in here so that you can experience out there. Yay. That's it for today's Hump Day Happy Chat. Every day I come and I say, I'd like it to go shorter today, but then Spirit comes and gives me things and I just keep going. And I thank you for being here live. And I thank you for hashtag replaying if you watch the replay. I especially thank you for being a gift to someone else in the world. Someone else you don't even have to pick. But just by sharing the story in the Hump Day Happy Chat, just by sharing it, you are giving someone else who needs some help the opportunity to receive it. You don't have to pick someone and say, I thought this would be great for you today. Nope. You can just share it and let people pick for themselves. What a gift. And I always close the Hump Day Happy Chat with the Karanaya Metta Sutra, the prayer of loving kindness from the Buddha. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be safe. A second or two of silence for the people who are in harm's way around the world. Just sending them the energy of safety coming to enfold them. May all beings be safe. May all beings be happy. May all beings awaken to the light of their true nature. Your true nature is probably not in some of those stories you're telling. Awaken to the light of your true nature, and may all beings be free. Yabba dabba do. We got some great stuff coming from the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery. Please check us out on Facebook in our Facebook group called The Bliss Collective, The Bliss Collective. And look out, because here comes our first Grow in Self-Mastery, Flow into Bliss challenge of 2023. 7-day challenges help you get clear on what's in there, what's in that story, Where does it disconnect from truth? And help you live at the highest vibration possible on the inside so you can manifest that on the outside. Many blessings. Thank you for being here. Much love and light. Bye now.